So for our review today, it's going to be, if we look at here, I have some metal and nonmetal. Over here, I have two nonmetals. I'm kind of throwing everything together and you're practicing all of it. So whenever you're naming anything from now on, because we've done ionic and we've done covalent, this is how I want you to approach it. There is the cation and there's the anion. You are totally going to look at the front capital part. So if I have NaCl, I'm going to look at the cation. What is it?
Sodium.
Okay, it's sodium. What kind of element is it?
Metal.
A metal. Okay, it's a metal. Is it a transition metal? No, it's not a transition metal, so I don't have to worry about parentheses or anything. If it's a metal, I simply name it. What's the first name?
Sodium.
What's the last name?
Chloride.
Chloride. I simply name it if I have a metal and a nonmetal. This could be Na10Cl22. It's still sodium chloride. If it starts with a metal, I simply name whatever is there. Okay, another example. I have FeCl3. Okay, same thing. I look at the cation. What is it? It's iron, which is a transition metal. Oh, it's a transition metal. I know I'm going to need parentheses. So I'm going to write iron, parentheses. My last name will still be chloride, but I have to figure out what goes in there. To do that, what do I look at?
The charge of chloride.
The charge of chloride, which is -1. But I have 3 of them. So 3 times 1 gives me -3. I only have 1 iron, so it has to have a charge of +3 to get to balance that out. So in my parentheses goes my 3. So if it's a metal, I name it. I don't care about numbers. I don't need parentheses. I don't need anything. If it's a transition metal, I need parentheses, and that parentheses is going to tell me the charge of the transition metal. Okay, next option. I have C2Cl4. Okay, I look at the front. What's it start with?
Carbon.
Carbon, which is a
Non-metal.
non-metal. If it's a non-metal, it's covalent. I need prefixes. It's the only time I need prefixes. How many carbon?
2.
What's 2?
Di.
Di. So dicarbon. How many chloride?
4.
So tetrachloride.
Chloride.
Okay, so if it starts with a nonmetal, I follow that rule. And then last example, it's not on this sheet, but we do use it. If it starts with an H, so let's say I have H3PO4. It starts with an H. What does that simply tell you?
It's an acid.
It's an acid. If it starts with an H, it's an acid. I need to use the cheat sheet and follow those rules. So on my cheat sheet, my anion ends with what?
PO4.
PO4, which is what name?
Phosphate.
Phosphate. So it ends with 8. So if I'm making an acid, I go from 8 to ic. So it would be phosphoric acid. So by the end of today, I expect you to be able to pick one of these, read it, and decide how to name it or write the formula. And that's your little help.